Houston EV Hub here at KPFT 90.1 FM and kpft.org. We're live there and in the archives. Please call in this morning to 713-526-5738. As the song indicated, taking care of business. That was Bachman Turner Overdrive. We're talking about EVs at work this morning, and I'm here with Colin Lowen, our producer.
Good morning.
And Susie Lovejoy in various capacities.
Good morning.
So we just heard that our control room operator, Rico, was involved in a hit and run yesterday. What could be worse than that? I mean, traffic is bad enough. And we were talking about how some of our cars, all kinds of cars, have cameras all around them now, which might be helpful in getting the license plate of someone who decides that they don't need to stick around, but it doesn't always work. So that's very frustrating, and I'm always urging people.
It always works on TV, though. The picture is always perfect on
yeah,
those.
because they got 10 times to try it. But I'm always urging people to drive better. I've been driving 56 years. I still need to drive better. Every day there's something that I can improve on, and everybody around us is unpredictable, including ourselves. So bear that in mind when you're out there. But I'm David C. Lowy, by the way, your host, and Colin has a cool fact, I believe.
Today's cool fact is EV batteries are being recycled today at a rapidly growing sector of the EV industry. Nearly 100% of the components can be reused and repurposed, unlike gasoline, which ends up as 4.6 tons of CO2 emissions from the average ICE passenger car per year. The best part of the recycling business is it is a moneymaker.
All right. Well, we all worry about that. People ask about the impact of EVs on the environment and so on. They're far from perfect yet, but they're a big improvement over internal combustion engines.
And also, oil refineries and pollution and getting the gas to your pump is not without a cost.
That's right. So today our subject is EVs at work. You see lots of EVs already making deliveries and doing ride share with people. I know someone I've mentioned before who's driven 50,000 miles in 1 year in their electric vehicle doing ride shares with people, making a living that way. Today we have with us Brandon Montoya, who's Fleet Service Manager at the Fleet Department at Harris County Precinct 2, with Adrian Garcia as the commissioner. And let's see, I had something else on that. Yeah, Precinct 2 is a giant area that is overseen by this division. 560 square miles in East Harris County from Aldine to Webster. And there's a lot to maintain, a lot to do, and to improve it for the daily lives of the residents in that precinct. And Brandon Montoya is involved in doing that. Hello, Brandon.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Hey, so let me just give a quick introduction. My name is Brandon Montoya. I'm currently the fleet manager at Harris County Precinct 2 Commissioner's Office under Adrian Garcia. My role involves managing all aspects of the fleet, including service, life cycle management, and ensuring our units are fully operational.
And you're with us today because a lot of those things are now electrified. Is that right?
Correct, yes. So we have about approximately 40 units in our fleet that is full EV. They make up from Chevy Bolts, Blazers, Silverados. We're also incorporating an EV box truck. We have a couple work vans, the Chevy EV Bright Drops. We're even getting EV RTVs, which are like the off-road utility vehicles for our parks team. So we're trying to transition to the EV scene.
So how has that been going? Were you in this position when there were still internal combustion engines being used? How has that conversion been happening? Who started it? And how is it working?
So we still are currently do have ICE vehicles in our fleet. I would say about 80% of our fleet is still ICE. Right now, we're just in a big transition phase to get everyone adjusted to EVs. The initial, who wanted to proceed with EV push was actually Commissioner Garcia. We were going through a life cycle phase, and the conversation with EVs came up. And now, we're just keep pursuing to bring more to our working environment.
And I understand that the idling was a big deal as a part of this transition.
Yes, sir. So during that transition, of course, when we look at life cycle, we also have to deal with idling. Idling is a big issue within the precinct. Pretty much, we have units who are on the road and they're just consistently idling for AC, or just to charge their phones. And what that does, that creates a lot of wear and tear on the engine. So we create a policy to reduce idling. It's within 30 minutes or so, you get an alarm on our geotap system, and then pretty much do alert the managers, and then they will pretty much come down. So the policy was we would try to reduce that, and EVs came into play because, of course, EVs don't have engines. So we use that as a big push for EVs that, they're idle exempt. You could run it all day.
Yeah, you need to provide an air conditioned space for people that are working in the heat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course. That's why we try to, we have our guys cool down as much as possible. We don't say, hey, you can't idle at all, but we have to try to reduce our costs, and the idling policy is what really pushes that drive.
And the EVs can do that painlessly. Is it true that they're allowed to use the EVs for cooling down in that way?
Yes, sir. Yeah, because they are idle exempt, just they can use the AC inside the vehicle to cool down, and
Yeah,
no issues.
yeah, yeah.
So how do the employees feel about getting into electric vehicles? Do some like them more than others? Are some opposed to them?
Initially, it wasn't well received. We have a lot of the I guess older employees who are real like, oh, gasoline, diesel, we need the big trucks. And so the trust was very low. The big concern was reliability, range, and the durability during the harsh conditions. However, we did have two major turning points, one being the idle program. The second was a big storm we had. We had a new batch of EV trucks, Silverados and Blazers that came in. Our public works team put them to the test. They ran them through high waters. They were utilizing them as charging stations. And that real world performance is what began to give the trust to our employees.
And that's what we all like about EVs. Do you have a way of comparing the costs of using EVs versus internal combustion, the maintenance and the fuel costs?
So right now our margins for fuel costs is approximately 13 to 18 cents for fuel. And then for EV charging is 4 to 6 cents per mile. So you can have about, an 8 cent difference, which is still is a lot when you have comparable a lot of ICE vehicles to EV vehicles. Now another big win for the EVs is that there's no moving parts. So it's all battery. There's no oil changes, there's no fluid flushes, nothing like that. Your typical big costs are your tires, and then you maybe have like your occasional brakes, but as far as maintenance, it's reduced a lot of our traditional PM services.
Yeah, and that's also. Do you have a number of maintenance costs of ICE versus EVs?
I don't have a cost on hand, but we
Okay.
can typically say it's generally like 40% less.
Okay, about 40% less. And I understand that there's also been an electrification of the tools, the blowers, the trimmers, the lawnmowers, etc.
Yes, sir. So, as you know, most traditional tools such as impact drivers and drills are already electric. They have a cord or the battery power. However, we're now expanding our tool range to include that are those that are typically reserved for smaller ICE engines, like your typical weed eater or lawnmower. We have been transitioning to full electric as well. We've even established a full division dedicated to EV maintenance, spearheading with the EV Silverado. We also have Ego charging stations and also our EV tools. So it's a full team dedicated for EV.
Yeah, and I heard a story about the Silverado being. You could plug the tools into the back of the truck, lock up the truck, and it would be ready for an emergency.
Yes, sir. Plug it up. It has a I think an inverter or internal converter. I might have the wrong terminology, but yes, you can plug it up and it'll be charged ready to roll.
So we heard of someone named Raymond Burns who was involved in getting this started too. Do you know anything about him?
Correct. So Raymond Burns was a previous fleet and IT manager. I'm sorry, director. He's the one who initially created all of these programs. Of course, with Adrian Garcia's approval. He introduced the IO reduction program. He introduced the loss mobility program, and also introduced the EVs. So he was a very big impact to our current fleet as of today.
And he gave a presentation to the Houston Electric Vehicle Association that some of us are involved with, and talked about having used an electric vehicle to help out in a parade. Do you remember about that?
Yeah, so traditionally, our parades will be carried around by a ICE Silverado, like a big 2500, and ICE generators, but the initial scare was that, hey, these EV Silverados aren't going to be able to perform a full day, pull a trailer, and charge all of our utilities. But it turns out it was more than capable. It pulled a full day. It was charging up a DJ station. I think it even had little lamps and all that attached to it. As also with our Ego charging stations, we had it all hooked up, and it only drained about 20% of the battery for a full day's worth of work.
And,
And
part of that was like AC, DJ, lights. I mean, all the stuff that goes into having a parade.
Yes, sir, the whole 9 yards. Even pulling the trailer in and having the trailer lights working, the whole deal.
Yeah, something about they had to drive to Baytown and back or something.
Correct. Yeah, that's where our main maintenance cap is located in Baytown.
well, and moving at slow speeds, as we know, really doesn't drain much with these vehicles. So you could go all day long.
Yeah, yeah, the
Of
slow
course.
speeds. Yeah, they go forever. Now, that towing does affect the mileage of any vehicle, whether it be gas or electric, but it certainly does affect EVs. But this application for the county is just perfect because they're in a pretty circumscribed area. They're not traveling large distances. They're mostly doing a lot of work inside of one area.
Yeah. Well, this is a fantastic development to me. Any improvements in governmental bodies that are moving forward with the most practical means that we can think of approaching transportation and tools and everything else. Right now, we're going to stop, and we'll get back to you, Brandon, as we have time. We really appreciate your being here.
Yes.
But stick around. You can hear our little funny bit that we do every week called Fun with Zip and Zap, and we'll try to talk to you more as time permits. Our show is relatively short, though. This week's Fun with Zip and Zap is Zip and Zap have an electric autonomous farm.
Dave and Ava.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
Okay. Dave and Ava were doing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, but we didn't quite get to that, but we all know that tune. And why am I talking? I'm supposed to be Zip. Little explanation there. Cue Zip.
Cue the talent.
Zip. Wow, Zip. This farm life is a breeze. It's almost like playing.
Well, Zip, someone once said work consists of whatever a body is obligated to do, but play consists of whatever a body is not obligated to do. But on our farm, it's a little different because all the work is done by electric autonomous machines, so we're free to sit back and enjoy life.
Not only that, but none of our animals are going to be eaten. They're just enjoying life, too. And they're like our pets.
And schools love coming out to show the students how all this works.
Here come a whole bunch of yellow electric school buses now. For some reason, I think you'll be better at managing the kids, Zap.
I'll try my best. Okay, everybody. Oh, I'm not managing them well. Come here. Okay, everybody. Line up here and get ready for the all-electric, fully autonomous hayride. And don't worry, those vehicles have been exhaustively programmed and tested. You're going to get a first-class tour of this working farm. If anybody has any questions, just ask the wagon and it will answer you.
There they go, but some of the teachers look a bit concerned. If they only knew how flawlessly these machines perform, they could just enjoy the ride.
Let's go check on the alfalfa and rutabaga fields. They're ready for harvesting.
Yum, my favorites.
And it's perfect timing. Just as the hayride goes through those fields, the students will get to see the robotic harvesters at work.
Yeah, I wish I was in school again.
But Zip, we own this farm. We can see this anytime we want. Even when we're in the city, we can watch on our private farm monitors. Isn't the future wonderful?
We'll have to wait and see, I guess. The farm tour is over and the hay wagons are coming back. Let's ask the students how they liked it.
Did you enjoy the all-electric, fully autonomous farm tour?
Yes, thank you. It was very educational. I plan to go into autonomous farming myself someday. That was quite an intelligent response. How old are you? I'll be 4 a week from tomorrow. Our fully autonomous teacher has imbued most of us with heightened articulation skills.
Well, isn't that fine? I hope human teachers aren't too worried.
Not in the slightest. Our former teacher is now free to pursue her real interests, playwriting and hang gliding. Yes, it's true. The times, they are a-changing. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
thank you.
We try, and thanks to the students.
Thank you, kids.
And the ducks, and the cows.
Yeah, and the sheep and goats.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
And the alfalfa.
Really, we have to go on. I hope Brandon hasn't left us after hearing that wonderful.
He might.
You still there, Brandon? Brandon? Oh, I think Brandon's gone back to work.
He's got a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks to Brandon Montoya from Precinct 2. And it's good to hear that our dramatic presentations hold an audience.
Yes, riveting.
But we assume 8,000 of you out there enjoyed it. So now we have some EV headlines. I think Colin and I will contribute a couple of those.
Yeah, and we might talk a little bit about drag racing at the stoplight, too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, officer, go ahead.
I have some questions.
All right.
I hear that you are tearing up the streets.
Well, it's a challenge getting across work. We moved across town. It's a challenge getting to work, taking my wife, that is, sometimes coming here. And on occasion, going through Memorial Park, I'll find myself at a stoplight next to a Lamborghini and a Corvette, let's say. And, you start thinking, how am I going to do compared to these? And it's a nice, clear space as the speed limit goes up to 50 miles an hour at that point. And I need to get in position anyway, so it's good if I can get ahead of them, but I just want to see how we'll compare. And I had been hearing this Lamborghini coming along through the park, rumbling, and making a show of itself, and I'm going along silently, just following along. So we're at this light at the same time, and we got 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, we do.
This story doesn't last too much. We're sitting at the light, and I'm thinking, well, why not? So I show them what I can do. The light turns green, and off I go, and I'm way up ahead of these other two cars. Meanwhile, they notice this, I guess, and I'm turning off. I like to slow down and let them feel like they can get ahead. And they do, and then I noticed that the two cars were now racing each other as they continued up Memorial Drive. So
So do these guys when they're at the stoplight, are they revving their engine? Are they are they challenging you?
Well, you can sense we're both kind of inching forward a little bit,
Okay,
kind of
okay.
anxious to get going.
You did a lot of drag racing as a teenager?
A friend and I, we're driving our mother's cars coming back from an event at U of H in the middle of the night, and we got above 100 miles an hour. But these were not electric vehicles, so the cars kind of felt like they were floating at that point.
Yeah, you stand a good chance in that 0 to 50 range, but 0 to 100 maybe not so much, and certainly not from Houston to Dallas. You would lose that race.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
because I got to stop.
Yeah. You have to stop, and they have to stop too. But yeah.
But then there was another little incident, and I saw they were ready to show off their car to the passenger, and once again it was no contest. And then I slowed down so they could feel good, and they kept roaring up the road. So.
Do you think they're listening to the show?
Are you listening?
So I had an experience on a feeder road of I-10 where I was at the stoplight, and there's the guy next to me revving his engine, and this is when I'm in the Roadster, so I'm asked for it, I guess.
Yeah.
And the light changes, and I of course I leave him behind, but the problem is that there's a car coming out on the side.
Yeah.
This is not the place to be doing this nonsense. And it made me even more upset that he had a child in the car.
Right.
I was like, oh, my God. So I no longer partake in that fun.
Yeah, so I will try to curb that impulse, and I do not recommend that kind of behavior. So shame on me.
Well, yeah, and I think you can do it, but just do it in a parking lot somewhere. I mean, the 0 to 30, 0 to 50, 0 to 60, you can find places.
But Susie, I think we didn't hear your electric question. We can answer it right away.
Well, I was kind of intrigued by the idling concept. So I wondered if Zip and Zap were a major motion picture shown at an outdoor movie theater in Houston. Could you leave the AC on during the movie?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, you could set up a projector and sound system and power that from your car as well. Brandon's comment about the parade, the story was that the car or the truck went from Baytown to Houston and then did the parade and still had 80% of its capacity left. So those low speeds, it can go a long time, and idling is no speed.
Wow, so we just need the movie now.
Yeah. I've talked with our technical director here at the station about that possibility, because he has a lot of equipment and cameras and so forth, so the movie would be EV, the movie.
So do you have any EV headlines?
I don't. Do you?
I've got one.
Okay.
I noticed this one, that BYD targets a 5-minute EV charge at thousands of sites in China. So BYD is a Chinese manufacturer, and they are doing some pretty interesting things out there. But they've come up with a megawatt charging. So that's 1,000 kilowatts of power. Your average car probably gets 150 to, on the high end, 300 kilowatts of charging. So they're experimenting with 1,000 watts, which gives you 250 miles range in 5 minutes. Now, again, this is a long way off, and it probably is not going to happen overnight. But knowing the Chinese, they'll have it done in 2 to 3 years. Yeah. They're planning on 1,000 or 4,000 chargers in China, and this car that is able to accept this type of charge is approximately $37,000 at the current exchange rates. So I think they're ahead a little bit. But Tesla also has been playing with megawatt charging for their trucks, for their semis. They do have semis. So it's not beyond us by any stretch. We can always catch up.
You got one for me?
Yeah, another one for you?
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got.
So, as we've learned, people are using these vehicles to work, to have fun, and the world is our oyster as far as what EVs can do and EV equipment can do. We're coming up with another one for me to look at.
Oh, yeah? How about, I like this headline. Why you want to look? You want to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking at an iPad.
Okay, yeah. No brand intended. Plans to roll out electric trucks by Volkswagen.
1 minute.
With 1 minute to go. We're about done here. Starting in 2027, there's going to be an affordable product at $22,000. Okay, well, that's not much information, but we got to say thank you to Brandon Montoya, Precinct 2, for joining us, talking about EVs at work. And we want to encourage you to not do as I do. Be careful out there and mindful of all the things that can happen while you're driving, because this will really save lives, so I'm going to tone it down. But thank you to Rico in the booth, doing it solo today, and Colin Lowen, our producer, Susie Lovejoy as Zap, and join us again next week, and go to HoustonEVA.org to learn more about our organization.
There's a line on
Thank
the
you.
ground
Thank you.
That'll take you anywhere. If you want to go somewhere in particular, you gotta follow the right line. But there's a line on the ground most places, and we're gonna follow that line to whatever we might find, though it might not be just what we were expecting. There's just no point directing that line on the ground. If you let it, it just might take you anywhere. If you let it, it just might take you anywhere.